I'm one of the trustees here at Springfield, Vermont, and welcome to our service today. We're a small but mighty community here. We care for one another, and we also learn from each other. All are invited here, and I hope you enjoy the service today. And if you're a guest today, feel free to introduce yourself. We'd like to get to know you at the end of the service when we have our coffee hour. Thank you.
Now for our affirmation.
And now, would you say with me the words of our affirmation? Love is the doctrine of this community. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve the needs of all beings, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with the source of our being.
I believe we have a story for all ages now, and I will be sharing a fire to go along with our story. So if you wish, pretend that you are around a beautiful fire, keeping your soul, your fingers, your hearts all warm on this snowy, wintry day. Welcome, everyone. So this story that I'm going to read to you today, I thought that the story was in this wonderful book by Clarissa Pinkoe Estes, but it wasn't in there, but it was inspired by her wonderful story writing. So here's our story for all ages, which I wrote because I couldn't find it. Once in a time, there lived a young girl. Her family named her Little One. She was the smallest and the youngest in her village. All the villagers lived together in a long log home. They shared a central fireplace for heat and cooking. The winter was especially cold, icy, and windy. The villagers were so low on supplies, they decided to venture out in groups for food and branches and wood. It was decided that Little One should stay behind. The winter was fierce and she was small. As they were leaving, her mother leaned in and whispered, "Stay by the fire, Little One. It will keep you safe and warm." Little One was alone and cold and afraid. She was afraid of the night and the wind. She stayed by the fire. As it grew smaller, she grew colder. She stayed warm by feeding it bits of wood and branches. She found her grandmother's prayer shawl and wrapped it tightly around herself. She banked the fire, keeping it small and glowing. Little one was afraid. She was afraid of the night, afraid of the cold, afraid the fire might go out. She fed the last bits of wood and branches into the fire. She curled up in her grandmother's shawl and hummed herself a healing hum. The villagers began to return. They were relieved and joyful to find that little one had kept the embers glowing. They added branches and logs until the whole house was warm again. They cooked their meal together. They celebrated little one by giving her a new name, Firekeeper, for she had kept the fire for herself and for her village. The end. Thank you. So, I can't quite find the right position to be in here to read to you. Learning to love ourselves. And what does that mean? I'm going to read you a little blessing from John O'Donohue. This is a blessing that I actually sent each of my daughters as they went out into the world. And for our purpose today, I'm sending it to all of you. It's called Benot, which is the Gaelic word for blessing. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the currach of thought, and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. To mind your life. Thank you, John O'Donohue. And that's what we'll be talking about today. How do we love ourselves? How can we learn to love ourselves? And how do we love ourselves? So a few months ago, there came across my stream this piece from the Lily. It's a lovely piece by put out by the Washington, let me see. It is, yeah, from the Washington Post. And this was an idea from a lovely young woman, Brittany Long Olson. She had this idea that when we have times when we're feeling down and not our strongest selves, that we create an emergency kit to remind ourselves that we're loved and to love ourselves. And I thought this was a marvelous idea. So the first thing that came to me was, I think I'm going to create my emergency kit, you know? And then as I wrote it down, I began to write it down. I renamed it for myself, Emerge Well. And the first part, of course, mind yourself. This was something that my dad said to me every time I went out the door as a child, that he was there. He would say to me, Now mind yourself. It's a very Irish expression, mind yourself. And what he meant by that was, as you go out into the world, that you take good care of yourself, your whole self, body, mind, and soul. Be mindful as you move through space and as you go out into the world. Be a steward of your own life and mind yourself well. And this next one, looking for the well, that one comes from my mom. She had a vanity plate, and it said LFT well, which I thought left well. And I said, Mom, what does that mean? And she said, oh, that is looking for the well. And what is meant by that is looking for the source, the wellspring. To always remember to look for the source of your wellness and your well-being. It nourishes us. It keeps us healthy. It keeps us fed spiritually. And so she had that as a license plate, looking for the well. And that's on here too, for the days when I need it. And one of my teachers in my young 30s, I was a mom, and I was working outside the home and inside the home, of course. And I was also in school. So I was multitasking a lot, and that's not really good to live that way constantly, in forward space, doing and thinking about what you have to do next. But that's how it was for a while. And I learned from a teacher, a yoga teacher, this remarkable exercise of the 3 deep breaths that you can do anywhere. You're at a stoplight, you're driving the car, between things. Your baby is crying and you need to sleep and she needs to sleep. 3 deep breaths. And that was a remarkable practice, because when I do it now, because I practiced it so much in my life, I actually feel my whole body goes into a much more peaceful place. So try it yourself sometime, just 3 deep breaths. You can do it even when you're in the middle of a meeting and your mind begins to worry about your presentation. All right. And then, of course, on my list are my dear ones, my loves and my family. And sometimes it's a particular mentor or a dear friend will come to my mind. And I just surround them with some love. And I remember how much they love me. And it's really quite a comfort. And then myself is on here, because it's so important to take good care of yourself. And it's so important to send some love and wrap yourself in that love. I read a story a long time ago from the Kabbalah, a practice where you picture yourself in front of yourself. And mine is always a triangle, and I'm in there. And in that triangle, I send out some light to myself, and I just hold it around myself and breathe it in. And that reminds me to take good care and love myself, and how important that is. So here's a fun one. The superhero pose. Some of you know it from yoga. Put hands on your hips and you stand in straight up, like you're ready to take on anything. And it really does work. A couple of deep breaths with that pose. Superhero pose. And then this last one here, practice. Because the more that you practice whatever goes on your emergency wellness kit, the more you look into that and use that and practice these things that are yours. Remind yourself who loves you. Remember to love yourself. the more it grows. The more it grows. And I'm going to turn this over now to, who's next, my darling T? Yeah. No, no.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, yes. Sorry. T.
Thank you. Thank you, Mama, for that story and that beautiful example of an emergency kit that we can all keep with us. Morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And it's an honor to be part of this Makerspace today and to get to present with my mom and my sister. So beautiful, beautiful beings that also happen to be from my family of origin. It's such an honor. And very happy to be here with you all today. The music has been beautiful so far. And I'd like to share a little bit of toning with you today. And this is a sounds and breathing exercise that I use to sort of help myself calm and center. I also have found toning very helpful in just freeing my voice. It really is a practice of surrender or yielding to what sounds come through, whatever sounds come through, what sounds want to come through. So it's can be done by anyone, children, adults, you know, anyone with a voice can join in, and I have found it, yes, very, very therapeutic. And if you will indulge me, I'd like to welcome you to try a sounding and breathing exercise with me here and now. And a reminder that you all are muted, and I'm going to mute for part of this too, so that you can really experience your own sounds. And so feel free to sing or sound like no one can hear you, because we can't. And also, yeah, just to allow whatever sounds come to really move through you. We'll start with a few breaths and making sound on the exhale, and we'll think about release in these first few breaths and sounding. So it will look like taking a deep breath in, and letting whatever sound wants to come out. It could be quiet, loud, grumbly. Just play with it a little. In toning, in the actual practice, they work a lot with vowels, because vowels have been found to have a particular potent vibration that is healing. And as many of you probably know, and as we can feel, sound is very healing and has been used by cultures since the beginning of time in order to heal, as a healing practice and for celebration and commemoration and all the things. So sound healing is an ancient form of love and therapy that you can give to yourself. The beautiful thing is we all have a voice, and it doesn't cost anything or require any additional equipment to do this. So you can be anywhere, and you can, just like the 3 deep breaths, it's accessible and easy. Let it be easy. So let's see. So you're all already muted. So I'd like to welcome you to try this with me now. And first, I just want to invite you to sort of get comfortable, maybe close your eyes if you like. You could do a little stretch and just take a couple breaths to arrive here now in your body, in this place and time. And feel yourself sitting or standing where you are. I invite you to feel the ground beneath you, the house you're in, and beneath that, or the house or building you're in, and beneath that, the ground, the beautiful earth that supports us all day, all the days of our lives. And take a deep breath in, and when you exhale, send that breath down through your body into the roots. Go ahead and do that again. Inhaling, exhaling down into the roots. So hopefully you're feeling a little more settled. And now I'm going to mute. And what we're going to do, first I'll describe, is take a deep breath in, exhale with a sound. Please feel free, as I said, to let whatever sound come through. And if you are feeling stuck at all or unsure, go ahead and pick a vowel. O is a great one. A is a great one too. Ah, O. So go ahead and play with that sound and take 3 deep breaths with sounding on the exhale. All right, go ahead. Okay, and when you're ready, we'll do another 3 breaths. And this time, I invite you to think of the sound as wrapping around those sounds that you've just made. So now the 3 deep breaths with the sound on the exhale has the intention to sort of come out and surround those sounds that you've just released. So we're going to add that into the sound pool. So same thing with a slightly different intention of the sound. So go ahead and we'll do that now. Thank you. I know it was all beautiful. I hope it felt good to you to feel some of that, of your own vibration moving through you and coming out into space. I'd like to invite us now to actually come off mute and do one more. And we'll take a deep breath in together in a moment. And we'll exhale and we'll let those sounds come together, because it's such a wonderful thing when we I know that the sound on Zoom with all of us isn't great, but this is just to feel the spirit of our all being here together and to add our voices into the river of this communion that we're having. So get yourself ready. Take a regular breath in and let it go. Yes, let's do one more, and let's think about sending that sound to each other. So sending some of that loving sound, that sound from our heart out to each other. So one more time, breathing in. Yes, excellent. Thank you. That's so fun. I just love your adaptability and willingness. this practice has been a great way for me to tend that inner fire that little one learned about in that story, and in fact turned her into firekeeper. Was quite a transformation for her to figure out that keeping herself warm was not only a gift to herself, but to her village. And I love that music is very similar, that when we tend to that spirit of music in ourselves, and, you know, it's something that can pretty easily be shared and joined in, you know, it can be really unifying. So thank you for playing with that toning with me today. I could tell you more about the practice in the coffee hour if anyone's interested of, you know, the origin or anything like that. And I'd like to leave you with, Mom, do we have time? Just a thumbs up with a song. Okay. So often when I do this, first, like I said, I use the toning to kind of clear the way. I feel like it sort of sweeps away the residue or the tension that I'm having, allows me to release any stagnation or tension or, you know, worry. And then the path is cleared for me to begin to make sounds and really channel that spirit of music through me. And that's often when I'm inspired and the muse comes and shares songs with me. This song is not an original. It was taught to me by Lainey Goodman, wonderful friend and ceremonialist, and is called Sweetness. And I'd love to just share this with you before I hand it over. And I invite you to just enjoy and to welcome this as a healing balm for your heart and your spirit today. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. Let it in. Come on in. I am home. You are home. We are home. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. Let it in. Come on in. I am home. You are home. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. Let it in. Come on in. I am home. You are home. We are home. May all the sweetness of the world be yours. May you have what you need. Thank you. I'd like to hand it over now to, is the Lindsey here?
Yes.
Wonderful. To my beloved sister.
Hello. Coming to you live from inside the car. Don't worry, I'm not idling. Oh, wow. That was exceptional. Thank you so much, T. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Julaine and the beautiful choir. It's an honor to be here and to be talking about self-love. It's a journey. always such a journey. I'd love to share with you an idea that was brought to my attention a handful of years back, when I was partaking in a women's circle, in an endeavor to really open up to some self-healing that was just really needed and really helpful. And the idea is around music again, and it's about listening to love songs or inspirational songs as love songs to the self. So normally, maybe you already do this, but many of us, we listen to these songs and our energy, the focus of those lyrics or inspiration is going outward to other. And this practice is a way of turning those messages and the energy and love inward to oneself. And I found that to be really beneficial and transformative. So music has the incredible ability to be felt, right? Like it's working on a body, mind, and soul level. It can touch us in all of those places. Music can affect our mood. It can evoke different emotional states. So I find this practice to be really impactful because listening to songs in this way offers oneself an opportunity to visit and sit with and communicate compassionately with whatever memories or emotions are arising within us in response to the songs. So, whatever spots the songs or the lyrics or the poetry is touching, the tender or the sore or the hopeful spots, and gives us a chance to show them some love and to bring them up and air them out, even, potentially even release energy. And yeah, this in turn, I found just has allowed a lot of space for feelings to shift, and that can open us up towards self-acceptance. Then it's another way to work self-acceptance and to open that up. And I sort of found that through another benefit that was occurring as I was listening to love songs in this way and inspirational songs in this way, as I was tuning that, fork that way inward. I realized that this benefit was occurring, was that all these messages that were in the content, these messages of love, of forgiveness, of loyalty, of trust, belonging, returning, faith, courage, freedom, all those messages, I was saying them to myself. And I needed to perhaps hear them. Like there were messages that I wished to hear, wanted to hear, needed to hear, and perhaps I wanted that we want that from someone else. And it's the song, because it's being sung by an artist or a poet is writing the poetry, it is someone else saying it to us, And also I will offer that saying those things to ourselves, those messages to ourselves, is really liberating. Can be really liberating. And whether you needed to hear them now or in the past in some time. And as we just experienced, like with T's beautiful leading of example that we all participated in, those messages via the resonance of music, that felt sense that music has, that resonance that music has, those messages are being integrated into our body of experience. So it's not just in our mind, but it's actually affecting us and those spots, those holdings that we may have in our being, which is just I have found really healing and really helpful and a fun and unique way towards self-love, and can happen anywhere, in the car, you know, when you're cooking, in the kitchen, you know, or when you're reading or doing anything at all. It could be songs that you already know or new songs that you hear. To tune in and open up to listen to it that way is a creative way to kind of to work inwards. And so now we're going to play a song that I found, and a part of a song, to sort of experiment with this. And it's a very awesome little jam by Emmylou Harris and Linda Ronstadt called Sweet Spot. And as we listen, I invite yourself to be with yourself and to open up those inner communications of compassion to yourself. And I always recommend open curiosity and receptivity and tenderness helps when listening. So thank you all so much. And
I'm going to talk pretty quickly because we're coming more towards the end, and I feel full of these practices and ways to give ourselves that self-love and self-healing. But I'd love to hear from you all as well. Anything resonate with you today? Any songs that you would send to yourself as a love song to yourself? So as I show you a little something, go ahead and put in the chat. Think about what are some ways that you show self-love? And if you want to come off mute, we would love to hear from you all. What are some ways that you show self-love? Tony, I see you.
Hey, hi. One thing that I love to do is I've got like 8,000 photographs that I've taken of my artwork and of family reunions and things that have happened, people that I love. I will sit and look at those and remember the events, remember the things that happened at the time. It just brings back so many wonderful things and makes me feel good, makes me feel loved to see the people that I love in front of me and in the things that we've done.
Thank you, Tony. Anyone else?
I have something.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually also, well, I have a practice of body gratitude, where when I wake up in the morning, I thank each individual part of my body. And I kind of left this behind, and then I had a horrible accident at the beginning of December, and I was not hurt as badly as I might have been. And I decided I needed to go back to body gratitude, because I really, really owed it to my body that I was in good shape. So I start with my toes, and I work my way up my body while I'm still in bed, and I thank each and every part of my body all the way up to my hair follicles. And it really is self-love. It's saying thank you to myself for propelling me through the world. So I highly recommend it as a practice. And that's my self-love practice.
Beautiful, thank you. And I see some shine coming to you from T. People are moving their fingers. Aren't we so, those of us that have fingers that move. I have a wonderful ex-boyfriend that I got to spend time with who became paralyzed, and really, really, really did we notice how amazing every single piece of our body is when it works well for us. It's just incredible. So yeah, and I love that idea of wiggling my toes and saying, thank you, toes, you got me here this morning. Yes. And I see some recommendations in the chat for that self-love, or even self-motivating, just like getting the energy up when we're not feeling it. Sharon says, Joan Baez, heart was full yesterday. Anne Marie says, Get Up, Stand Up by Bob Marley. Beautiful. And you can keep them coming as they come to you. Sister Lindsey has started like her own soundtrack and started to share them with us, which is awesome, because sometimes when we feel down, that's when our brain and our creativity works the least, right? So that's why that toolkit that Remy was talking about, like, we don't need the toolkit when we feel great. When we feel great, we're like, oh, I do all these things that make me feel so good, right? We need the toolkit when we feel down. So we have those emergency playlists for that time when the creativity is blocked. Dancing with Myself by Billy Idol, from T. Yes. Great. Keep them coming. So the portion, we had some skills and some stories, and I just want to say two things around why. Why is it so important? And what do we say when people say, oh, self-love, that's so indulgent, that can be so selfish? Because I'm not sure, if people hear that in their circles, but I'm an organizer in New York City, and there is like a kind of there is a phrase about self-love being stopping the work from transforming the community at times, right? So it's important that we know why we need to do it. And when we think about the question why, or our question why, we can go back to that idea of the well. You cannot drink from an empty cup. You cannot, right? You cannot invite people to your fire to feel that warmth if there's no embers, if you don't have those resources, if you don't have those flames. You cannot do it. So if we want to help to heal the world, which I imagine that's why we come on Sundays and commune together, if we want to do that, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of our souls. And when we have that compassion for ourselves and that self-love, we can emanate it. We can spread it out. And I'm sure we can all remember times when we've just felt so depleted that any little thing, I'm a mother, so any little thing can set you off. And compared to other times when you feel full and whole and you're feeling good and the sun is shining and you're grateful for your toes and your fingers. And at that moment, you can just give it out, right? And in a very practical sense, I think of, folks that say, in response to Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, right? That is an argument by some. And that reminds me of Thich Nhat Hanh and his idea that when we have compassion for ourselves, we have love for ourselves, that we actually can then communicate better. So I have found in my life, and I live on Staten Island now, that when people say, I'm still here, right? You guys can see me? Okay, I just got a weird message, sorry. I have found that folks that say all lives matter, their well is not filled up enough to say, oh, okay, there's some folks that have it harder than I do, and that's the folks that need love at this time, right? That's the folks that need love. I have enough love in my life, enough resources, enough privileges that I can then work for other folks to feel love, privileges, facilitate that time, right? So having compassion for ourselves means that we're full up, and that when something is asked of us, yes, we can give because we know we have enough, that we are enough. Absolutely. So thank you so much. I will put some quotes from Thich Nhat Hanh, and I will put some lyrics from our singers in the chat as we close out today. Hopefully it's not too distracting. And thank you. Thank you. Bill Brink says Room to Move by John Mayall, Man in the Mirror. So the songs are still coming in the chat. Love it. Thank you, everyone. What a beautiful makerspace. Thank you for giving us this space and sending love to all of you.
Thank you, Rosa. I'd like to add that I feel that when we do what we love, it does radiate out. I don't know. Y'all tell me when I sing that song, I love to sing that song. Is it something nice in the world for, just as an example, I do feel really that whether it's cooking or walking or singing or it could be anything, fishing, that we have a glow about us, just like mothering, and that can be felt and sensed and interconnect with others' energies and affect it. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.